The first real full weekend of the autumn series delivered a couple of very interesting results. On the one hand, you had a couple of the darlings from the 2023 World Cup suddenly falling. You had a couple of teams losing out that you thought would win their respective games. For example, you had Portugal losing against the US, Uruguay lost, and it was a bit of a shock to see those ones happen. But a lot of the other results were very interesting and not very easy to predict. The ones that went the direction that you thought it would was the France game. They were always going to run away, and Argentina was always going to run away. So their results, not the biggest shockers out of the lot. But there are three games that I want to highlight in particular. Now, the first one that really stood out was the complete turnaround that we saw from the All Blacks. This was the first time that we actually saw a dominant All Blacks team in a year, basically. Since the World Cup, they have just struggled under the new coach, and everybody was so excited about the new brand of rugby that they would probably deliver. But there was a way in which they very successfully dismantled the Irish team, where the Irish team are usually the most disciplined team in the all of world rugby. And they were able to slowly but surely break them down and force them into areas that are very uncharacteristic of the Irish team. Something that I do have an issue still with the New Zealanders, but that has been something that has always been a characteristic of the game. As soon as they are under pressure, they're very good at committing professional fouls to stop the continuation of the game, and they never do get into any real trouble. They sometimes get a penalty against them, but very rarely see a card, even though it's very obvious that they stopped a highly likely scoring chance in terms of a try in favour of them just conceding the 3 points. But that is taken away from the overall performance of the New Zealanders. Overall, they were dominant. They were the ones that deserved the victory, and yeah, all credit to them. There's a bit of work for Ireland, and I think they have they are a little shell-shocked because they expected probably to win this game. The second game that was a very interesting one to see was the game between England and Australia. Going into that game, nobody would have given Australia a chance. I think if you had bets on that game on Australia, nobody would have believed you. But it was one of the games that really captured the imagination, because there was a lot of brilliant attack from both teams, even though the defense on both teams was a bit disorganized and lacking. The result that we saw was actually what I think was the first little glimpses of what Joe Schmidt can do with that team of Australian players. We could also see some of the rugby league influences coming in, and how impressively those performances seamlessly got integrated into the Australian team. That last try to win the game, absolutely sublime. One of the best tries I've seen in the past decade, and I loved every minute of it. So all credit to Australia. I'm happy for them that they were able to pull this together in a year that was mostly forgettable for the Australian team. The last one that I just want to touch on is the Scotland-South Africa game. Scotland should get quite a bit of credit here, and that scoreline flatters South Africa in a big way. South Africa found a way, as they've done now for the past couple of years, to win that game regardless of what the situation is. They didn't play a good game. They were disorganized. They were continuously disrupted. They struggled for most of the time to get continuity in their attacking game, and their defense wasn't brilliant. So it was a grind of a win, but they got their win. So credit to the South Africans. The thing that I really liked about the Scottish is they built on the performance that they had the previous week against Fiji. Against Fiji, they actually looked like the Fijian team on the field. They were running all over the place. They were putting in the most amazing plays to rack up the tries that they scored, and the defense was really brilliant. Something that I really liked about the Scottish over the past weekend is how their defense once again stood up and was very clever in disrupting a lot of what the Springbok team wanted to do. Something that they were really good at is they contesting at ruck time. When it came to the rucks, there was a lot of effort put in, especially by the Scottish props, to just disrupt the pickup of the ball by the 9 as soon as the ball would come out. It actually resulted in Jaden Hendricks knocking on 4 times during the game, and it just slowed down the ball a couple of other times. That really disrupted the rhythm of the South African team. So full credit to Scotland. Overall, very interesting game of rugby, and this weekend was a one filled with upsets. And I believe every rugby lover must have enjoyed this weekend of rugby.